Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me, and welcome to our last sugar plum project of the Christmas 2018 holiday making season. So this is a sugar plum body butter bar, and so in the video I am making it in a push-up tube, but on the blog I make it in a mold, and then we also have a couple different coloring options as well, a mica option and a botanical option. So this project is pretty cool, pretty customizable, and I really like it. These body butter bars kind of came together as part of my Formula Botanica coursework. I was kind of in full sugar plum mode, so I figured just carry the theme through to my coursework, and then I really liked these, so I figured I would share them, like why not, right? So these bars don't contain any wax. They get all of their firmness from the fat blend and then a titch of stearic acid, because kind of some of the earlier versions they just melted a little too quickly in my hands for my liking. So these are mostly Tucuma butter, which is a brittle, firm butter, some stearic acid, as previously mentioned, some soft mango butter, and then of course some plum oil, because that is like the star of our sugar plum series with its amazing marzipan-y, gorgeous scent, and then a touch of vanilla-like benzoin and some bright, spicy cardamom to really round things out. Presentation-wise, we do have a couple different options. So in this video, I use a paperboard push-up tube. You could also use like a deodorant tube, and I know you can buy them in sort of larger and smaller sizes. Sort of screw-up tube, any kind of tubey thing works really, really well. Or you can freeform them using a silicone mold. You can make them into a bar, little nuggets, or kind of whatever kind of mold you have. I would probably keep it below like 50 grams, because that starts to be like a lot of body butter. But yeah, you can kind of choose to form and present the bars however you like. And then as I talked about earlier, you can tint it with a mica or botanically, or just leave it untinted. So I have covered the details for the botanical version in the blog, and then the mica version is in the video. But yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can make these yours. The process for these is fairly simple. There's a little bit of trickiness when it comes to cooling it down so that we make sure that the bars stay super silky smooth and don't go kind of weird and grainy on us, but it's not very hard. You got this. So come on, let's get started. We'll begin by combining our heated phase ingredients in a small heat-resistant glass measuring cup. So you're going to need 37.5 grams of Tucuma butter, 2.5 grams of stearic acid, 5 grams of plum oil, and 4 grams of mango butter. To melt everything together, we're going to use a water bath. So this is a small flat-bottomed saucepan that has about 1 inch or 3 centimeters of water in the bottom of it, and then a little silicone drink trivet. And I'm going to go pop this on the stovetop over medium heat for about 20 minutes until everything has melted. Once everything has melted, you can remove your water bath from the heat, and then we're going to remove our body butter from the water bath, and we're done with our water bath. So we are going to be cooling this in an ice bath, which I have here. But before we get started with that, I am going to add our mica. The cooling of this tends to go quite quickly, and I want to make sure that we can pour at the right moment. So I'm going to add the mica now because it's not heat sensitive. So I have a sort of a plum colored mica. So this is black amethyst from TKB Trading. And I'm going to add 0.375 grams of this to our liquid body butter. So now we're going to start cooling this in our ice bath. Right now, what I'm aiming for is sort of just cool enough that we can add our other cool down ingredients, so our vitamin E and our cardamom essential oil and our benzoin resinoid. So I'm going to stir in here for about 30 seconds, and then we'll dry it off, pop it back on the scale, and add the rest of our cool down ingredients. And then we're going to head towards a fairly thin trace, because we do need to still be able to pour this easily, but we also want it to reach that trace so that we know it'll cool down and be nice and smooth. So pop this back on the scale, and we need 1/4 gram of benzoin and 0.125 grams of cardamom essential oil. And we also need 1/4 gram vitamin E oil. So now I'm going to make sure that we have our packaging on hand, because when we need it right away. And so this one for the video, I am putting in a push-up 2-ounce paperboard tube from Humblebee, but I'll show you some of the versions that I did for the blog at the end of the video. So we're just stirring this in our water bath until it has reached trace. And we want quite a thin trace for this one. So keep going. Okay, so I think we are at about a level of trace that I want for this project. So I'm going to set our ice bath aside. I'm just going to dry off our measuring cup so we don't accidentally incorporate any water into this. And we are going to pour. Now it is very important that you do not fill your tubes super completely, because if you do, it makes it very hard to carry them to the fridge without spilling. All right, and I'm going to go carry this to the fridge now to fully set up. And once your body butter is set up in the fridge, you can take it out of the fridge and kind of let it come to room temperature, and that's about it. So there's the version that we just made in its tube. So this is a paperboard tube from Humblebee. And yeah, you can just, use the body butter by kind of pushing it up and rubbing it against the skin, and you can kind of keep a finger in the base of it here so that you have good access. As you're pushing it up against your skin, it doesn't just go right back through the tube. But I wanted to show you a couple of the different color versions that I did. So this is the one that we obviously just made. This one is colored with mica. This one is not colored at all, and this one's a little bit of an example too of what happens if you trace the batter too thick before pouring it. You can kind of see that we get some of these fold lines. You didn't really get a smooth pour, so you don't want to you don't want to make sure that you're not waiting too long to pour things. And then these two are both tinted with alkanet root, just different amounts of it. And so this is the one from the blog, and there's no color residue there. This one has a little bit more color in it, as you can see, a little bit plummier of a tone. It does leave a wee hint on my skin, but kind of once rubbed in, it's not a thing. So I'll provide kind of notes on the different amounts of alkanet root I use to get these two different levels of tint, and then just to kind of swatch this one as well, so you can see there's no color, because these aren't supposed to tint the skin. They're just supposed to be kind of pretty on their own. And then I've got this little jar here, so I just kind of wanted to say, if you're going to give these body butter bars away to people, I do recommend making sure that you gift them in some kind of a storage container, because as you handle them, they start to melt, and as they start to melt, they start to get a little tacky, and then they start to attract hair and lint and other kind of gross things. So you want to make sure that you give your end user something to keep them in, so that they're not just leaving it on like their bedside table or something to become a gross, fuzzy ball of something that's probably going to get thrown out. So when you're choosing your mold, I would kind of recommend making sure that whatever shape it's going to spit out will be somewhat compatible with some kind of packaging that you can get and that you can gift the product in. But yeah, there you go. So we just made some sugar plum body butter bars. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and do remember to go down to the description box below this video and click through to find this recipe on my blog, where I have detailed how to do the herbal infusion if you kind of prefer that route for coloring. There's also links to places to buy all of the ingredients, information on substitutions, scaling, shelf life, and a whole lot more. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.